How spooky is this? Is it dark enough? I was informed that I would have to spy on a building today. This whole week, actually. So I have to be really under the radar. So forgive me for my spookiness. I gotta be real quiet. Anyway, so how's everything going on Orion Earth? Yeah. How's your transition going? Your consciousness shift from our original home to here. Is it going well, or are you taking it pretty hard like most of us? Be curious to know what you think. But having said that, I had this dream where it was kind of a shorter dream, but it was still interesting to me, where I was in some kind of blue sedan and I'm driving around with a female, and I kind of got this feeling like we were a couple or something. And the car looked older, like it looked like an old Chevy Nova or something. And we're driving around and we just seem really lost. And we stumble upon this really peaceful and beautiful beach. It was really just the feelings I was getting were just really at peace. There was something strange on this beach. Well, it wasn't particularly that strange, but to me it seemed like it was strange. There was this massive complex that looked like a nuclear power plant that was, left to rot for decades and decades. Like, it was all messed up. It wasn't in a good condition at all. And we're kind of driving around this massive complex for whatever reason and just making observations of what we were seeing. And there was grass and everything overgrowing on it, and it looked like a nuclear power plant because of the dome-shaped structures that usually come with them. So it was pretty interesting. And that was pretty much all there was to it. I sort of just woke up, but it was just such a nice. It was just such a nice beach, though, which I do live by the beach, and I actually do have like this old ugly power generator plant by the beach, but they've since taken that down, or most of it. But it didn't look like that. It looked completely different, and the landscape looked completely different than where I am. So, interesting to note. Definitely some symbolism in that dream, I believe. Oh, sorry, somebody's messaging me. My apologies. So, guys, I've been seeing 666 and 9/11 a lot again. I noticed a pattern over the last couple of years or so where it comes in waves. Like, I would start seeing the numbers again, and then it would diminish. Kind of similar with the white owl sightings. I accept that as becoming like increasingly more sporadic. I've only seen it that one time, basically a few weeks ago, but I used to see it on a much more regular basis. In terms of 666, 9/11, and a few other numbers like 88, for example, and 101, a few other numbers that I see a lot. They also come in waves, so I wouldn't really see much of anything, and then all of a sudden, countless times in a day, and I really mean that. I mean countless times I would see 666, and yeah, it's still ongoing. It's an ongoing saga. It doesn't seem to end. And for the new subscribers, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sorry, but uh, it's pretty straightforward, though. I've been seeing those particular numbers everywhere for probably about 3 years now. 2 or 3 years, I would say, around there. And it's weird. And I've had another really cool, I would say, interesting synchronicity today, where I was really meditating on the movie Men in Black and thinking about Orion a lot in general. Since we're supposedly located in the Orion band in the galaxy, and we've heard a lot about Orion, especially people like in the New Age community, and then supposedly the Great Pyramids line up with the constellation Orion. And there's a lot of channel material that talks about, nefarious alien races from the constellation Orion. Um, and I was actually remembering the movie Men in Black, discussing something about that constellation and its relation to preventing war. So if you watch, towards the end of the movie, and Mark Allison, his YouTube channel, which is where the synchronicity comes in. So I was meditating on that, and then the first video that pops into my feed was him talking about Men in Black, and I'm like, these crazy synchronicities are just happening so often lately, it's ridiculous. So he made some really interesting observations about Men in Black, so I'll share that down below. And it's just interesting to take note of. And I don't know what to think of this most peculiar of Mandela effects. Like, did we physically transport from where we used to be in the galaxy to that location, or are we in another dimension, a parallel version of Earth? Are we I've had all kinds of millions of theories on the Mandela effect. I shared a million times here, but I'm specifically talking about this one and what it means. And I wish I had an answer. Like, I started thinking maybe since it is a lot closer to the center of the Milky Way, are we pummeling towards the supermassive black hole in the center of the Milky Way? And for example, in a few years' time, will we find ourselves much deeper into the Milky Way than we are now? That's just something to take note of and think about. Could CERN have opened up a wormhole that we're just traveling through and we don't even realize it? It's like some kind of supercharger. I made a video about it. I was in Florida discussing how we're potentially being quantumly entangled into a future that the controllers want, which, is the technological singularity, being the cyborg realms, etc., and we could be extracting quantum oscillating information from that particular future that's pulling us towards it, and somehow it could possibly be related to Orion with some kind of advanced technological nefarious alien races that are kind of being the mediators between that future and our present, so that they can boomerang us into the singularity cyborg future. I don't know. Or is NASA just screwing with us? Since they changed on their own website that we went from Sagittarius to to Orion. Is this all just some mind game? We have to look at that possibility too. Is it a psyop? Because it very well could be. It's weird. It's weird because what about all these? I mean, I follow astronomy pages on Reddit. I never hear anybody discussing that at all. And they like really great astrophotography and things like that. And is it really possible that, your average physicist or astronomer out there doesn't question this, why, how we seemingly were in the Sagittarius arm and we're no longer there, it doesn't make any sense. There's got to be somebody out there that's asking themselves WTF.